Okay, hello everyone and welcome to a new Masterclass, the third of its kind, brought to you by Draughts 10 times 10. After having legends that are still actively playing Draughts, Alexander Schwartzman and Alexei Chichov, we now have a guest that has retired from Draughts for over 10 years. Well, you all know who I'm talking about, the German Grandmaster and former Vice World Champion Mark Podolskij. Hello Mark.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hey, great, thank you. So today, Mark, he will tell us about his Draughts career and show us some of his best and most interesting games and fragments. Before we start, I have a few more things to tell you guys. First of all, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is also really important because if you want to ask a question to Mark, you can then post them in the chat. I will keep an eye out for interesting questions and channel through the most interesting ones. So please be subscribed to do so. Finally, the structure of the masterclass is as follows. We will be going through the games in a more or less chronological order, which also means that the level of the games start to increase as we proceed. If you have any questions relating to the end phase of Mark's career or what he has been doing for the last, well, let's say decade or so, you can ask them now, but I will pose them to Mark at a later stage. And halfway, we will have a break. So let's start with the very beginning, Mark. How did you get in contact with Draughts?
Yeah, that's a good question. So through the family. So that's how I started. So we played this game with my father and with my sister. So my sister is 5 years older, and when I was young, she was already a member of the first the chess club and then the draughts club. She switched. And we started playing, and I got interested in that. So, and then in the age of, I think 6 or 7, my parents brought me officially to the club. And that's how basically I started my long journey. And well, this was still Soviet Union time back then, right? So we're speaking about year 86, I think. And so you have to know, I mean, at least the younger audience has to know that back in those days, those sports, chess, checkers, whatever, was supported very much by the government. So it was, you had trainers, you went to competition, and, it was all paid by the state, more or less. So those things were popular. And of course, obviously, I started to play the Russian version of the game, right? And I actually, well, I always say I had some luck with small cities. So I was born in the city of Elektrostal, which probably nobody knows, even in Russia. It's a small industrial place close to Moscow, and it's a very small city for Russian standards. So it's around 200,000 people, something like this. And usually you wouldn't expect a strong club, in such a place. Mm-hmm. But in draughts, we were really, really good, with a lot of masters, a lot of strong players, a great trainer. So my trainer was Boris Bronstein. So Bronstein is a name you know from chess maybe, but yes, in checkers we also have our own Bronstein, so who was a great trainer and took care of me, and I started to achieve strong results pretty early in this game. So I think from during the years 93 to 95 I won 2 world championships under 16 and 2 world championships under 19, which basically every world championship I took part until I left. Right? So I was pretty strong already in this game. Right? I think in the World Cup, in the Men World Cup in 94, when I was 14, I was probably number 9 or something. So yeah. But in 1995, I moved to Germany with my parents, and I think for the first year, this process of relocation to a different country where you don't speak the language, I had a lot of other stuff to do, so I didn't play draughts or anything. And then my parents came to me and said, "Do you want to proceed somehow with that?" So then obviously you have to switch to international drafts, 10 times 10. And I think I played just a couple of tournaments when I was back in Russia. So for me, it would be, still a big change. Of course, games are somewhat similar, but everybody knows they're not the same. And then I decided to switch. I got in contact with with a player who is still playing. He's a friend of mine, Igor Chertorivsky.
Ah, yeah. Still very
active. He proposed that I meet some of his teammates, and he played for Eindhoven back in those days. So I remember I had this meeting with Ingo Greberas. I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Ingo, if you're in the chat. So I played against him. I think basically one was a combination or something. And he said, "Okay, let's give this guy a chance." And that's how I started, right? And this was my first kind of experience. So it means I really switched to international drafts maybe in the year 97.
97. And you were how old back then?
I was 18.
18.
18. Right. So indeed, I played a couple of tournaments before, like 2-3 tournaments in my life before that, but then that's where I switched. So in that sense, my backstory is a bit different from, let's say, young Dutch players, who start much earlier with the game.
Yeah, it's different from the Dutch guys, but it's very comparable to most of the Russian grandmasters, I guess, because they all started in Russian drafts. So how was this in Germany? Did they have like a good infrastructure for you to play games and to get some training, or how did you get familiar with it?
Not at all. So Germany, in that sense, is a big village. They don't know the game. There is no support for this game. It's on a very, like, administratively speaking, it's on a very low level. Of course, nowadays with Gantwerk and Vierny and Igor Chertorivsky and some other guys, and me when I was active, so it was not a bad bunch of people. But this tells you nothing about the overall administrative situation. What helped me is the place where I lived, which is Bochum, was very close to the Dutch border. So, using this, I could participate in the Dutch team competition, or easily going to summer tournaments in Netherlands and so forth. So geographically, it was a big advantage for sure.
Yeah, I see. So when it comes to playing games and competitions, you could easily go to the Netherlands. But how about training? Did you read books, or how did you train?
Oh, yes, this is yet another kind of maybe difference to both Russian and Dutch players. So it was relatively complicated, and obviously I didn't have any trainer apart from, like, really in the first year I had some lessons with Vierny, but the father Vierny, who is the he was a famous trainer in drafts. So his son is, of course, very famous as a drafts player, but his father was a very famous trainer. So I had some lessons with him, so it helped me a lot, just a few lessons. I was, when I switched to play for Witte van Moort, for Westergaard, we had a really also great personality, Nikilananda.
Ah, yeah.
So he was team captain, player, but also a trainer. So it happened rather often that we came, on Friday before the game, and there was a training session for everybody, right? And also, as far as I recall, I think it was the initiative of Harm Wismar when he was running the top training, that I could also join this. So I joined this top training sessions for also like 5 to 10 times, I don't remember, but they were also pretty helpful for, on an intellectual level, this was crazy good. I mean, I remember our discussion with Harm, and he was amazingly quick in his calculations. I was also pretty fast, so this intellectual discussions about the variations were very helpful. But I didn't have, like, on a big picture, I didn't have trainers constantly, and I learned a lot from books, from watching the games of other players, analyzing, which comes later. We will see a lot of stuff with the analysis and how it helps. Yes.
All right. Okay, maybe that's a nice moment to switch to our first game.
Yeah. So let us start. As I said, we start chronologically. So I hope you can see the diagram on your screen. And the first game I would like to present you is my game against Vladimir Milshan, which was played in '98. So maybe a year after I started to play international drafts. And during this whole session, of course, I will show you games, I will show you variations, but I will also speak about everything around it. A game is not just a game. There are psychological issues. There are background stories, and I'll try to mention them. So this is, you can say it's the beginning of my career, and I'm playing. This is a team competition. So there were 4 teams with, I think, 4 players in each team, and I do remember that I played with Alexander Schwartzman in one team, and to be honest, I don't remember the remaining players, but obviously in those days, because I was just starting, so the idea was that I have to play against top players, and Vladimir Milshan was a top player. I have to play relatively safe, as far as I could, at least. And so what happened in this particular game is that, I took, a combination which simplified a lot of things, but my understanding back in those days was not perfect. So by taking this combination, I lost about 15 tempi or something like this. So I was so the position simplified, but I was so beyond in terms of temp development. It was very dangerous. And then here you have basically the position which arrived. I played with white, and it's my move. Right, and there's not so much time left for both of us. But it's obviously white who has to find a defense here. I mean, let us start with some simple things. So, if I would just attack over here, then it's just a simple combination. Like black gives 2, takes 2. That's it, right? So. And otherwise, if I play just a random move, like 42-38, for instance, and black gives 2 and takes 2, and again it's over for white, right? Obviously, I have seen it in advance, so I played this move 40-35. So now, what is the idea? So of course, black can take the same combination which I just showed, right? But white has a counter. For instance, this way, white can give essentially everything. Let's give this piece 2, just for the fun of it, and this is obviously a draw. And for the team competition, it's good enough, right? Mm-hmm. But of course, Vladimir sees it, and he tries to make things more complicated for me. So he does give the first piece, but then he plays a quiet move, right? And obviously, this 23-28 is still there. And so I have to find a good defense, which is not too easy in this position. And also, so you have to take into account this is a team competition. So in order not to my teammates nervous, I should play this game, like I should draw this game as fast as possible so they can concentrate on their positions and not on mine. And, you know, I will show you a lot of combinations where I won, but combinations are also a tool to draw. So, and this is one of such examples. So I played a very nice move, which basically is forcing the draw relatively immediately. So, which is 43-38. And now, well, black has to take this combination. Now, of course, you have many ways to capture the pieces. Obviously, if you capture this way, well, you don't have a better position, right? And if you capture this way, this is also draw. So for instance, I can give a couple of pieces here, like this. Okay. It is 4 against 2, but black has no chance to win. So the 19 piece runs onto 5. For instance, this piece on 30 just can be put on 25, and this is it, right? This is draw, I mean, for instance, okay? But obviously, well, this was not the plan, black's plan. Black thinks it's winning, right? Because black can take these 2 pieces. Well, I have to take, and black takes these 2, right?
Just wins a piece.
It's 4 against 5, right? So, and actually, I remember Vladimir was happy just for 3 seconds before I played this. So, unexpected move, I give 2, give 1 more, and then capture on 15. And this is clearly draw, 3 against 1. So, yeah, so it shows some creativity. And let me comment the whole difference between the Russian version and the 100 fields version is that we, in the Russian version, we learn, you know, to calculate very precisely. On a small board, like a small inaccuracy can cost you a game. You know, it's in terms of strategy, of course, international drafts is much more interesting and much more developed with less forced variation. But in terms of precision, so you have to calculate much more precise. That helped me a lot, to be honest. So this is an example of this type of precision. So, you know, okay.
Yeah, so when you played 43-38, you already saw there was a forcing draw.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay, then let's continue to the next game.
So this is a game against a Ukrainian player, Yuri Lagada. I hope, at least he's still playing.
Yeah, he is.
Very interesting player indeed. And I think this game we played probably in the World Cup. It was either 98 or 99. So it was a World Cup under 19. And yeah, as I said, let me tell you a story about this game, because again, as a young player, I just kind of switched to international drafts. As a young player, I was rarely able to show, you know, a complete game, you know, with a strategy, good opening strategy, pressure over the whole game, and you know, and then the nice finish, right? Many young players, they cannot show this complete game, but at certain points in the game, they can show some nice ideas. I wouldn't say brilliant, but nice ideas. So what happened to this game? So I took some advantages in the opening. So I was ahead in development, played pretty decent for this stage at least. Then we arrived at this position. I played with black. You see that I have some central pieces over here, 24, 23, 22. But white is threatening to switch to classical game, right? So if I take a random move, let's say a stupid move like this, white will exchange. And this is a classical structure where white would control, both sides of the board. So which is, and black cannot get out of it, right? So strategically, I can't play like this for a win, right? Also, the tournament situation, as far as I remember, so I think the first 3 games I played draw, and I think I played against just 3 Dutch players, like who were all pretty good. I mean, they're still playing. So, and then I think I won 1 game, and this is the 2nd game. But I was still not leading the competition, right? So I was in need of winning games. So this is the position where we arrived, and I saw a very nice kind of trick, which I thought I go for it. So, okay, let's see what happens in the game. So I just exchange, right? Okay, I gave 2 and exchange, right? So of course, I mean, you have to understand 2 things. If I were a grandmaster, top 5 grandmaster, people would be careful in this position, and probably they would just exchange 2 against 2, and this would be draw, right? But as I correctly anticipated, so after I took this exchange, so first of all, Yuri Lagada is not a player who is like simplifying positions, especially if he sees an opportunity to win and maybe to secure a really good position in the tournament. And that's what he goes for. So he plays this move. So the idea is, of course, to take a combination. 47, 41, and so forth, right? So I have to close this field, but the combination still looks interesting, right? Still promising. Now he has to take the combination more or less, because then now his position is not that good anymore. I mean, that was the whole plan all along. So he does take a combination. Right, and this looks as it might be promising, because I can't immediately promote my piece or something. So except what he didn't say in advance is this little trick over here, and yeah, now this position is completely lost for white, right? So this was a nice way to kind of trick your opponent.
Yeah, that's a funny trap. And he fell for it. Yeah, I think he didn't change his playing style, since he's still playing very active games, nice games. So
yeah, which you should do. As if we have young audience here, you should play active. This is a good idea.
Talking about the audience, I see we have some new people tuning in. Welcome everybody to this masterclass by Mark Podolskij. Like I said in the beginning, if you have any questions, please just ask them in the chat. Be subscribed to the channel. It's necessary to post those questions, and also please give a thumbs up if you like this video. So far, I see no questions, so we continue, and we still welcome questions, like I said. So let's move on, I think, to the next game.
So I think this next game was a wild position. So it's I think this was a consecutive game to the one which I showed before. So this was just the next game, which I played against Lyudmila Volkova, who stopped with Draughts, but she was a pretty good player when she played. And so she participated in the World Cup among juniors and was also on the top of the tournament when we played this game. So now you can obviously see that 2 young players are playing against each other. So this position typically doesn't appear.
Yeah, it looks very interesting, with the white really having a strong center and black completely surrounding.
Right. Yeah. And
nice
because white is lacking these pieces on the first rank, the position is more dangerous for white than for black. Let's put it that way. Especially this one, yes, 48. Insane. So now, well, I will show you probably the game. So in the game, Lyudmila played 41-37, which is a correct move. I was very much hoping for this one. There are just two moves left. So either this one or 34-30, right? This would won me the prize for the best combination. So, which is, you know, I give 3, right? And give 1 more. And now I exchange some pieces. And while I exchange them, I obviously create a lot of holes in the white position. So which gives a hope for a combination. I give now 2 more and make use of all of these holes in the position. And then I just take 6, right? And this is, you know, I like those combinations which go all over the board, right? You use every part of the board to your favor. So if I'm honest, I do not remember after the game if Lyudmila told me whether she saw this combination or not, but she played correctly. And I would just like to show what happened next, because there were some interesting developments still. So, okay, so we play on.
Yep.
Still, white is very limited because now the only move is 34-30. I'm not claiming I play all the correct moves, just showing you the game. Again, white has very little space to develop. So we develop this way. Now, for instance, here it looks like black can easily win a piece. No, not now, but after the next move, black can win a piece like this. But then white gives this piece, plays, let's say, 32-28, and this is not very clear. If black can, well, who's better at all, right? So we kind of, yeah, need to go back to this, but this position is winning for black, and now put in 20, white has the only move here, and now I kind of miscalculated, so I spent a lot of time. In the game I played this move, I thought I was clearly winning. White is running out of moves, while the more effective way was to play 3-9. White plays the only move, black plays this, and this is end of story, because now the only remaining move, sorry for that. Something is going bad here, yeah. So now after this,
yeah, now you can play 12-18.
Just
right?
play this, and this is over. This is like, you know, black takes everything here, and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Now I played the wrong move. I played this one and this one, and I thought that's it. That's the end of the game. White has no moves. But Lyudmila played really well. She gave me 2 pieces and played this move. And basically, black has 2 pieces more, but cannot win this position. So, you know, I remember I showed this game to another top player, Oleg Cherniak, who was a very talented guy, and unfortunately he died in very early age. And I showed him this, and without even thinking, he showed me, why didn't you play this one?
What?
It's absolutely crazy. Without thinking, he shows me.
Oh yeah, that's a nice shot.
And this is like, no, this was, in those days, this was not my level. I couldn't see this one. I have to admit, it's probably not winning, but it gives black probably best chances.
Yeah, it looks very good with all the pieces in the center for white.
So yeah, so this is kind of the story.
That's a funny game, very wild game, I would say. So I see some people being there in the chat. First of all, I see a comment by Edwin Twist, your former teammate in Westerhaar at Witte van Moort. He says, I have no question, but I want to say hi to Mark for me and Jill Salome.
Yes, thanks a lot. I remember you guys. I have very nice memories of all of you. So,
and some remarks to mention your combination was really beautiful. Yeah, I wish I would win one game ever with such a
yes.
nice combination.
Recall, this was just a variation. It didn't happen in the game.
It didn't happen. Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So no questions related to the game. Let's move on to the game against Holgakker.
So this was also a game, I think, in 1998 or 1999, and this was an important game. So we played in the Hague Open, and before the last round, there were a couple of people with +4 score, right? And two of them was Mark Podolskij, who was a really great Dutch player, young player, who unfortunately stopped also quite early. And I also had +4, and there were a couple of other people. So to be honest, in the beginning of this game, I missed the combination, so I could easily win. But finally, we arrived at this position. I played with white. It's black's turn to move. And, we don't have so much time anymore. So now if you give a somewhat younger player a bit time, I think he or she could defend here properly. But there are some obvious problems. So if, for instance, if black plays just this move over here, which looks quite natural, because I can't play these because of this small combination, white can exchange, give 2 and take 2. And it's probably still draw, but the position is not in black's favor. So it just, if we make a couple of more moves, like this, for instance, right? I don't know, here, right? This looks scary, at least.
Yeah, so at least.
Maybe still a draw, but it looks very scary. Now, if I come back to the position, actually the best move was to play 11-16, which is very counterintuitive. You don't like to make this move, but the story is that if I play this natural move, then there is a small drawing combination. So just give 2, well, give 4, take 2, and that's it. Right. Maybe not easy to see. So what Mark played is also relatively natural, 19-14, but now it starts to be a bit more complicated. Because I attack, and now he thought he would force a draw. So he uses the rules that I have to take the majority, obviously, right?
Sticky move, yeah.
Yeah, and then play this. And, well, his idea is, so he gives me the second piece and attacks. So
yes, because maybe first show why you can get to king directly, right? Because there was this sketching construction.
That's a good idea. So obviously, if you play this directly, it's just simply winning this way. While if you play it to the side, I just play this, right, which is also winning directly. So he gives 1 and plays this, and it looks draw because there is no way. So white has to give 2 pieces back, which is usually a draw, but not in this game. Now I offer my king, and now it's totally won. So I have now after this game, it's a final round. I have a +5 score. The remaining people have +4 or less, and this is my first tournament that I won. It's quite nice.
So how old were you back then when you won the tournament?
Well, I think probably I was still 18, so it's maybe it's 98 actually. It was played in 98. I was 18.
It's impressive to win such a tournament when you're just 18 years old. Because even back then it was a very special tournament, right? Very strong tournament.
Yeah, there were a lot of people. I remember, like from my memories, from the nice memories, I won a nice game, but against Hans Janssen. A really nice game, but it's more like it was not a beautiful game, but a nice still like game. I remember I took a picture, so we took a picture with Cooperman. Cooperman was there, so yeah, it was quite an experience. Yes.
All right. So I see I missed a question when we were talking about the previous game. It's posed by Jean-Jacques. He says, I tend to lose focus in key moments of the game. I sometimes miss an easy move. How can I overcome those concentration lapses? Do you have any advice for how to stay focused?
Yeah, this is very hard to learn, I think. And this is, I mean, Jean-Jacques is correct. This is one of the key of the games, right? So, I remember that when we were small, so the way we were taught in the Soviet Union is that, I'm not sure it brings something, but when you're a kid, our trainers said, you don't keep your hands on the table, you keep them below the table. Because if you keep them below the table, you need more time to move. You don't have, if you keep them on the table, you have this tendency to play fast. Because you're so close to the board with your hands. I think it's more, I don't know if it helps, but I mean, this is a key point for the whole competitive game, to be honest. And I could go further. Really what makes a top, not just a grandmaster, but a top grandmaster, is to identify the moment in the game where you should start calculating precisely, to take over the initiative, such that your opponent will follow you rather than developing something else on his own, right? And this is a key thing in the whole game. Like on the very top levels, I think this is what is a kind of the decisive thing. I think I was famous is, well, it's not a good word, but in fact, during my whole career, I never had time problems. I never had time issues. Never. It was not a part of my game, because I specifically concentrated on how do I spend my time. So pick your fights, pick the positions where it's important to calculate. Spend your 30 minutes there if it's important. But there are other positions in the beginning mostly where you use your strategic thinking. I know I'm not answering the question precisely because I don't know how to increase concentration during the game psychologically. For me, it came naturally, more or less. Also with age, of course, I kind of missed simple things also when I was younger. But it's just a matter of, your mental approach. It's hard to say. I don't have a psychological advice.
I see. I think it was already really, really helpful. I see another question by Archange Discar Destiné. I hope I pronounce your name well. I think I recognize you because you used to play on this platform quite a lot on Draughts. He's asking, how many moves ahead could you calculate back in the days? How good were your calculation skills at this age?
I mean, well, it's hard to say. I also got this type of question from non-professional players, like how it depends on the position, right? So if we are in the starting position, I cannot calculate very far. So I have to use my strategical thinking. But when the pieces come together, again, it depends very much on the position. It could be, depending on the type of position, it could be 20 moves. as far as 20 moves, 25. But it doesn't. I always, at least for non-professionals, I always explain. Of course, the top players are not calculating on possible moves. That's not what we are taking. We have experience, strategic ideas, what we have to calculate, right? And sometimes there are positions where there is a move nobody would calculate, but for some reason it hits your attention, and But typically we pick a number of candidate moves. When the position get closer, then actually not so many candidate moves, 2 or 3, and then you try to calculate, as deep as possible, just to decide which one is better. And for the better one, you probably calculate deeper, something like that. But it all depends on the type of position. I think my calculation skills were pretty good. Never complained about that. Because that's what you learn when you play like 64 version, right? And then you develop them, right? So good memory, good concentration skills. So I could calculate, yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's go to the next game.
Yeah. So now I leave the chronological order a little bit, and would like to present you a game. It was actually a rapid game against Igor Kirsner, who is a very good Ukrainian grandmaster. Again, still playing, still very much active. And let me tell you the backstory, because I think it's more interesting. Might be even more interesting than the game itself. So what happens is this is a European team competition, and I'm playing for Bashneft, for the team of Bashneft, for the first time, to be honest. And this team, I mean, I can tell you who was playing for that. So Alexander Schwartzman, Alexander Getmansky, Murat Amrilayev, and myself. I mean, these are all top players. I mean, this is relatively clear. And our opponents, this is the final. This is the final of the team competition. And our opponents are Chizhov, Valneris, Vierny, and Igor Kirsner. So these are our opponents. So this is a heavy fight, obviously. And just to give you an idea, actually during my whole career, I was not used to be a part of such a strong team. No offense to my friends who are in the chat, to Edwin and Jill and Marino and so forth. But our team in Westerha, for instance, we had really nice, solid players. On a given day, they could play really good games, really solid, with Nikhil Ananda, our trainer. And I was maybe the guy, Bert Swart, by the way, my colleague nowadays, great player. So we've done it as a team. So in particular competitions, so it was me who was, who had to win these very important games, which I managed from time to time. But I never was a part of the strong team where everybody is strong, and you play against a team where everybody is strong too. And so we play the final. And the normal games are all drawn, and this is the first rapid game. And no disrespect to Igor, but in this particular game, or in this particular team, he is supposed to be the weak point, right? If you play with Chizhov, Valneris, and Vierny, no disrespect, right? So I was supposed to make my move. And then I play this game. This is a rapid game. And, coming back to the question, by the way, sometimes you have this moment you're just blind. I thought, it's my move. I'm white. I thought, well, I'm good. I play this, right? I want to play 33-29 and win. So probably black just has to exchange. And let's say I play this move and have very nice position with good chances to win the game, especially in the rapid control. Obviously, what I completely miss, and some people, you have this blindness. Black plays 3-9, and the game is over, but now for white. What is the problem? Of course, if I play a simple move, of this type, then blacks just plays 21, 27, and it doesn't really matter. Let's take this way. And then black is winning, right? Mm-hmm. And now, actually, I want to tell you a story. So what I will show you now is a very nice trick. But I cannot play this particular variation in the game without a certain psychological preparation. So you have to imagine, so this has two super strong teams. All other games are finished. We are playing this rapid game and later blitz games for the championship. Mm-hmm. So you have all those people around watching us, you know, well, everything is finished. I have actually still pretty a lot of time here. Now, if I would play the move I played in the game, or the variation, just quickly, this would not work out well. But I remembered all these stories. In this moment, I remembered all the stories I read about this old Russian grandmasters, like you know, like Andreyko or Wigman, mm-hmm. and all those books which I read. How they psychologically, mentally, you know, won these big battles. So what I do here, not only I spend essentially all my time trying to find the draw and being desperate, also I start sweating. I make, you know, I try to play, you know, like, okay, I lost. It's bad for the team. Probably we are losing because I lose this one. We don't win the other games, that's it. And then out of desperation, you know, maybe I have 1.5 minutes left. I run down the clock and, you know, I give up the piece because there is nothing else to do. I have no moves, right? And I'll play this. Now, okay, I have one piece less. And I'm actually endangered to lose another one. So he attacks. And then, okay, well, what can I do? I mean, everything is losing here, right? Mm-hmm. So again, out of desperation, at least that's how I act. Yeah, okay, the game is done. Okay, just show me that you can win the second piece, right? Up? Oh. Too early. Sorry. And he plays this move, and this was a trick. Of course, he thinks, I have to play this. He gives one, takes two. And that's it, right? Two pieces down. I mean, no grandmaster can survive this. But yeah, there is a but. What he didn't see is this combination, which of course I planned. But you have to prepare this mentally, this type of combination. And now this. And so give two, give one more. And now I have a king for two pieces. And I have to give Igor Kirsner a lot of credit because that's, at this point, you must be down mentally. I mean, you are supposed to win. You are forced to play this. I play this move. Obviously, I want to play 38-32. And he, within really little time, finds a really nice defense. Which just gives this two. I mean, this was a very good move, and play this. And this is draw. So yeah. So we actually, this was a rapid games. We played draw, and I think in the first blitz game or in the second, maybe the first blitz game was still draw. Everybody played draw. But in the second blitz game, I won finally against Igor, and Murat Amrelaev won against Veli, and with two draws. So we won the competition. So it was kind of.
So when did you see this combination? You said you let your clock run down. Did you see it in the beginning, or
yes?
And just wait until the end, start sweating?
Of course, I've seen. So when we arrived here, I have probably seen it within about 20 seconds. but I had to act a little bit. Otherwise, it would be, if I would play quickly here, it wouldn't work. So you had to prepare. Sometimes you play these tricks, these mental tricks. So we learned it from old grandmasters. So.
Very nice. Well saved by you, and then by Igor.
Yes.
After. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next game.
Yes. So let's do this one. So it's actually not a long game. It's against my friend Bertos the harder. So a friend, I hope people know him as a draughts player, but I used to play they called it Barnstein tournament back in those days, or an Amersfoort tournament before. And whenever I played this tournament, I basically stayed in Bertos' place. And he's a very kind person. He was also a painter for a while. It's not his main profession, but had very nice paintings too. And so this is a game we play. So again, I'm relatively young here. So just normal opening, nothing special. So Bertos decided to exchange. Not the common thing people play, because obviously, over here, the flank is really empty. So usually it's not very good for black, while white is more balanced. But nevertheless, it's possible to play it. So white usually is expected to have some small advantage. But now, I think at this point where I play 41-36, so of course if we play normally, as I said, so white position is more balanced, and while black has some emptiness over here, so white is probably better. But Bertos decided correctly to change the type of position and to play this, to call it Hoogland attack, do I remember correctly?
Hoogland, yeah.
And it turns out actually white's position is probably worse. So you cannot actually attack this piece anyway. And now white's position is a bit disbalanced. But I see some nice little trick. It's a move which doesn't make my position worse. So I have still the same normal plans, but I also have a trick. So I play this 46-41. And Bertos decided to play 12-17, which is one of more natural moves, okay, threatening 18-22. But there is a problem here. Namely, I can attack. Okay, well, what can you do? You probably win a piece, but you need to occupy this field 10, right, to win the piece. So, and now there is a problem. Namely, if you play the natural move, which was planned when he played 12-17, then there is a nice little combination. Exactly, play to 21. It's very important. And you do this, right?
Yeah, nice shot.
And
black needs to take the other way.
Yeah, you need to take the other way, but now it's even more simple. So I give 1 and take 3, and then I have 1 piece more, and the game was over after a couple of minutes. So this is a kind of a nice miniature, so to speak, a small game.
Yeah, nice idea.
Yeah.
I remember sometimes you have this kind of ideas with going with 39-33, but not in the position that you take a combination to 2. Usually it goes the other way. So it's a nice idea.
It's of course very unfortunate to play against your friend and to win against your friend, but yeah.
Okay, let me see if there are more questions. I see Kees van den Bos saying hello, good to see you again. So
nice to hear from you. Yeah,
old friends checking in. All right, then let's go to the next game.
Yeah, let me switch to maybe to this one. So this is a game against Rafael Darabak, who is, you know, he was playing drafts his whole life. He's still playing, active player, is a real drafts fan. So this is a position I play with white. We played in a German competition. And well, obviously, well, white has an advantage, you know, is controlling everything. Sorry, and just going back, but it's black move. So black is, you know, all the pieces here are controlled by white. So black has to try to escape this somehow. So Rafael plays this move over here. Of course, maybe with the idea, if I play, let's say I play a random move, maybe to give these 3 pieces, and yeah, at least it's simpler, and probably he solved most of his issues here, right? And also one natural move for white, so if you're playing at least on a reasonably high level, it's just to immediately occupy this field, but this is also not completely trivial to win, because black can play this move, and now at least after this natural move 45-40, there is this combination. Say something like this, and it might, I don't know, it might be still winning for white, but it's much more complicated, of course, right? And yeah, I can play this move, but then black plays this, still with the same combination. 45-40 is not possible. Probably it's still winning after moves like this, but then you need to calculate a lot, right? So I saw a much nicer solution, which is this one, 29-24. So now, actually, so probably I will not give all the variations, but you know, if you would wait with natural moves, I don't know, something of this type or something of this type, it will be winning for white. So white will just play this, occupy this field, this will be over, more or less, right? I will not give you the details.
Looks very good indeed.
But it's quite natural to, you know, to use the opportunity to exchange. And now there is a combination which is, I think, quite unusual in drafts. So, namely, I give one this. And of course, the idea is not to play this. This doesn't give you anything. Because if you do this, yeah, black just waits and takes to 44, right? But the idea is to play this move. And then to play this. And right, and then we get this combination, and it's pretty interesting mechanics of this combination. I mean, if Edwin Twist is still online, so he's a specialist for combination, so he might have seen this mechanism before, but for me, having this in the game, yeah, it's not, yeah, it's not so.
It's a special combination.
It
also works under the Russian rules, right? I was just thinking, if you start with 33-28, like on the Russian rules.
Yeah, it can potentially, but the board is smaller, so to kind of have this type of mechanism is a bit more complicated. Yes. So. Yes.
Okay, somebody, Casper tells us there are some issues with the board, that they cannot see the combination. Let me quickly check what's going on. I think we are still in sync. We seem to have some technical issues regarding the board. So you were just explaining the combination, the winning combination, and it still shows the position after the bet combination, but I'm told it should be working again. So maybe let's quickly show the combination again for those who...
Quickly show. So this was the exchange, and then gave this one, gave another 2. Now 43-39. Take this 2. Black has to take. I take to the king. Black has to take again. And now I make my final round. And that's it.
That's it. All right. So it appears to be good again. So I think they saw the combination. Then let's move on to the next game.
So yeah, next game was actually, again, this is not chronological. This is probably one of my last game in professional drafts. So against De Vries, so Jan-Jeke De Vries, it was in the team competition where played for Witte van Moert. I was not playing drafts like professional anymore, but still played some nice games, I think. And I think this year is when we won the competition. So that's the position where we arrived. I played with black. Probably I have some advantage because the white pieces on the board are not very good. Piece 28, you can play around this piece pretty well with black, but let's just check what happened. So we play natural, maybe somewhat natural moves. So I try to, go get closer to the center to control things. And now this, first mistake is coming, 45-40. Of course, the position is getting closer to a classical position, and you should, under no circumstances, you should touch the piece 45 in this type of position. And so that's what happens next. Now I want to get a classical position. Now another very suboptimal move. So probably you just have to go for the classical position this way. I don't know. Maybe I play this. And because you don't have piece on 45, I'm better. But it's still better than the game variation. So 34-30 might be losing already. So now 13-19. I mean, very concrete move. Doesn't look elegant, but so people ask me, when do you start to calculate? Well, that's where you calculate. Here you should be able to calculate until then, until it's winning for black, which we will see I didn't manage. But I attempted at least. So, okay, normal development. So I don't let white escape of the structure anymore. So now white is running out of moves, more or less, right? And here, I mean, we'll come to the critical position, but here is actually where I made a mistake. So now, if I would still be a professional player, maybe I would find it. But there is a very pragmatic way of winning things. So just, keep everything intact. White tries to escape, but we just not let it. White is just running out of moves, more or less. Black positions look ugly, but white is running out of moves. So, and I watch a lot of chess, and they say if you have a choice between a beautiful variation and a pragmatic one, choose a pragmatic one. It's this one is usually the one which is winning. But to be honest, I missed something in the game. I missed something in my calculation, and for that reason, I played this. Attack. You have to play 13-28. I play this move, and I basically thought that I'm winning because the natural move, which is left there, is just losing. Right to this. And what I missed is just this, right? So he gives me a piece. He plays this. And now we arrive at the critical position.
This is the critical position. Yes. So maybe I think many people have seen this because it's a really beautiful and well-known fragment. But for those who didn't or just like to retry to recreate this this idea, we will have a short break of about 10 minutes. Then we will come back and show the solution to this fragment. Also, please get some drinks, go to the restroom, and be there in 10 minutes again. Hopefully you have the solution. You can post the solution to the chat, and if you're right, I will give you a shout out for finding it. Then see you in 10 minutes. All right, welcome back everybody with the masterclass of the German Grandmaster and former Vice World Champion Mark Podolskij. Just before the break, we left off in this position where White just played 39-33, and we asked you guys what happens next. I see some questions in the chat. I will answer, or I'll post them to you at a later stage. Maybe it's already nice to post the one post by Edwin Twist. He says, here I was waiting for, a while ago there was a discussion if after 24-29 you didn't calculate or miscalculate his next move. Time to settle this once and for all. Well, I think just before the break you already said you missed the sacrifice, right?
Yes. And if I may give a advice to young players who are watching, you should be, very honest to yourself. Always. That's the first thing to improve. I could claim that I've seen all of this when I played this move, but you should be honest to yourself. That's the way you improve. So
that's very good.
I didn't see what happened in the game. So White gave a piece and attacked, and I had to find my way out of this.
Yes, because now suddenly it looks like Black is maybe having some problems.
Yeah, Black is having problems, of course. I mean, I could give a piece back, for instance, right? But my position is very compromised. So White can play, to 31, 26, controls everything on both sides of the boards. This is definitely not a good way to go. And then basically, I find this very unusual combination, so forced combination. So I give the piece back, give one more, and attack. Now White has to, has to play this move. And here, I mean, obviously, probably White would expect that Black just plays this, right, and tries to defend. But this was not the point of this whole operation. Now it's a very unusual combination. So it's an 80. So I give two pieces, and White gets a king. Now I use this. I take 2. Now the piece comes on 23, and you see now White has many holes in the position, which Black is using, obviously. Gives 1, takes 4. And the thing is, and that's the beauty of this position, well, let's count the pieces. Well, I have 1 piece less, but I will get a second quick king in the moment. And also the nice thing is that this king completely isolates these two pieces, so they cannot be promoted. So I think maybe it's still a draw, but very hard to defend for white. And later I won this endgame.
So I wonder, Mark, when you took this combination, first you have to see it. It's a fantastic combination. It's not like you said, it's not an everyday combination. What did you think when this happened? Did you think, okay, this might give me some winning chance? Did you think, all right, I escaped from missing something vital?
No, here, I mean, my mindset through all the game was that, well, I have to win this, right? And the way the game developed, I was going towards winning. Of course, when Jan Jeke played this nice move, just gave the piece and played this. This was a kind of a scare moment here. But as a drafts player, it's important to, well, that this settles down. Okay, you had this scare moment, but try to do your best in this given position. Right?
Yeah.
No, after the combination, I immediately see it's only me who can win, and that I have great chances here for sure. And well, even it's very hard to defend. I mean, no matter what your drafts level is, these positions are hard to defend because white pieces are, well, they're controlled by black kings, and they're kind of in the middle of the board. They're easy to attack from all sides, while black pieces are, on the board,
in the corner.
I'd say. So, yeah.
Wow.
So
Beautiful.
maybe. So this was a nice game, well, or a nice combination, let's put it that way. And this was actually close. It's one of my last games in my career, so it's not that bad. But probably I would like, again, because there are some players in the audience who are developing their skills. So I would like to tell you a story before we come to some of the next games. So as I said, I moved to Germany. I started playing international drafts seriously, probably from the year 97. Again, I was lucky to participate in these Dutch competitions, specifically with Wittem and Moort, who gave me a lot of, a lot of help in various perspectives. So, and guys, I still follow your games, so play responsibly. If you are, a talented player, skilled player, you can reach pretty high level in drafts. But then there will come a particular point, and it's important to get over this hump. This is typically, if you're a really good player, you will enter the top 20. Top 20 doesn't mean that you can win the World Cup. In my time, like, you had this legends, these top players like Schwarzman, Chizhov, Georgiev, Valneris, and let me put also Alexander Balakin into this. So let's say this top 5 for me. And to get to this level, this is the last hump. And then you're ready for, to go for a World Cup, right? And I played until the year 2001, 2002, 2003. I was developing, but what I didn't understand is how much effort you have to put to get over this hump. Just to play and win games and win some tournaments, that's not sufficient. And actually, I had a very nice, in life, you cannot predict many things. I had very nice experience. So in 2003, I started my PhD. So I went to Paris for a couple of months. And I had to work hard for like, I was doing PhD in mathematics, had to work hard, but still I needed some time also to relax, to do something which I like to do. And there is a very famous park in Paris, which is called Jardin de Luxembourg. And in this park, there were some chess players, actually a lot of them, but there were also some players, drafts players, French drafts players. And I met them, we started to play. So first they didn't know who I was. So they saw a good player, but then they realized. And I started to play with them. And that was the moment, we met every week, we played, they had a club. So, and that's where I started to analyze my games, and also to understand. Okay, as I said, for young players, be honest to yourself. What are you good at and what you are bad at? You have to do your homework. You have to, see where are your gaps, where are you lacking confidence. So I tried to do a lot of analysis, analyze games of our top players, analyze certain type of positions, to get understanding of the games, to fill the gaps in my drafts education, right? And that's where I really started to also to use computer in the time. If you use computer, use it smart. I don't use computer and just follow the lines. I was using computer because I had some ideas and I needed to check with the computer how things work and how I develop intuition for a certain type of position. It's not like the computer gives me a line and I repeat it. No, I have to understand why these particular lines are the right ones to play. And I developed a lot of different ideas. Some of them are crazy, which never happen in the game. Some of them you think they will never happen, but they actually happen. And then it's good to use them. But most important, it develops your feeling for the game, your intuition, your skills, and so forth. And this helped me within the next couple of years to go over this hump, this final hump. I'm not claiming I was playing like better than the top guys, but to get to this level, and we will see now, having the story in mind, we will see how the game developed, and some of the games I will show you after the break are those, well, at least some of them are of such level where where you can basically give an argument for each move in the game. Like that's what I say, you play a complete game from the start to the end, and we will see some of them. It doesn't mean I still make mistakes, but now you will see many more complete games.
Okay? All right, let's go for it. I'm curious.
Yes, so let's start with some with this one. Well, this looks like a crazy position. So I think it was in a team competition. So I played against Henk Klarenbeck. So I had a couple of games against him, and always quite interesting games. And this is actually coming from quite famous variation, but definitely Henk was the one who was taking the risk. So compliments to him. And we arrived at this position. Now black has to move. So it's kind of a Bonnard type of position, right? So I attacked. This is the right move. Actually, later I analyzed this position, and it's very close to be lost. But of course, if you ask computer, it will say, okay, it's very easy to defend. But okay, so let's think what happens in the game. So Henk exchanged. Actually, it was better to take to 26, but this looks more natural. But this is actually lost. So 12-17. I play this. 17-21. 39-33. Now the problem is white is running out of moves. So that's the issue. And now Henk plays this move. It's the last time where this move can be played, because if you just wait, let's say like this, I don't know, maybe this move, and then you try to play this, but now it's too late. You cannot attack anymore. I mean, in this particular position, maybe you can, but strategically, it's too late to attack. So, so now white played this move. So now I attack on 26. Now Henk makes a very good move, namely 43-39 and not 44-39. So what is the difference? So now if you play this exchange, so what will happen? I will just play 12-17. Well, you play this move. But now I just ignore your threats. I play 7-11. Of course, if you don't do anything, let's play some random moves. I will play this, and then I just win a piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do something, but if you can't, you can't take the piece here. That's a point. So if you play this move, for instance, then I just play 13, 18, right? 18, 23, and then I get a king here, right? So that's it. So that's why the move he played, 43, 39, is such a good move, because it will be different.
So maybe, Mark, apart from the lines, why would you say that black is better in this position? Because I would say, like, okay, white took a Bernard position, and like Ton Sijbrandts explained in one of his other videos, I think the one we published on Wednesday, if white manages to get a strong control over the center, it might actually also be good for white. Why do you think in this position black is so much better?
Yeah, so this is of course a very concrete example. So like in general, I played Bernard position for the side of Bernard, and I had good positions. But in this particular case, so what you can see, there are essentially just two pieces, white pieces, which are playing, which are still in the game, 48, 31. And white doesn't have so many waiting moves, right? Whereas in the black position, you can clearly see, well, all these pieces are still in the game, right? And white has no easy chance to break through in this type of in this particular position, right? So in general, Bernard positions are very interesting, and it's not always clear who has a better of it. But in this particular case, because I have so many more moves and options, and the white has just two pieces which are still in the game, it should be better for black.
Okay, I see. And I guess it's also important that black still has a piece on 4, right? So that there are no combinations.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
So now, again, actually, this is still from my kind of early part of my career. So again, I make a mistake. So in the game, I played this. White played this, and now the difference is, and that's what I didn't see, I thought I would have the same plan as we had before, but now this type of combination for white works. And I told you, I will tell you honest stories. So of course I calculated this, and I thought, but I can take a king, and then I'll win this position. Completely missed that white captures a king. That's it, right? As simple as that sometimes. Okay, so but let's come back. What is beautiful about this game is what was left, behind the scenes in a way. So later, when I come back, I realize there are some very nice variations here. Oh, sorry, and they sorry. Let's come back to this position, and they start with the move 1-6. So again, I will not analyze maybe everything, but I'll give you kind of very nice variation. So okay, white plays this move, and now you have a very forced variation full of different ideas. So 9-14. Now white plays 31-26, and of course is kind of threatening at least to simplify the position a bit by 27-22. And now the beautiful move 12-17. I mean, of course, finding this type of thing in the game is essentially impossible. But now what is the kind of key? The key is you can't play this move. So because black plays 19-23. And like this. So let's count the pieces. Black has one piece more, but more importantly, all black pieces are safe, while white pieces on this side are very weak and very easy to attack. So this is probably losing. So white has to wait, you know. And again, black completely ignores this threat. 7-11. Now this move doesn't work again, but for a different reason. Now you have to take this two, this two, this, and now white is in trouble, no matter how you take. I mean, obviously, if you take this, I just put on 41. But if you take this, I just give 1 and take 4, which is completely winning. So it's a kind of a crazy thing. Okay. So, well, but the moves, you are running out of moves. So the only meaningful move is to exchange, right? Then you think at least you escaped all this crazy combination, but the answer is no, you didn't. No, it's 16 to 21. I get this 2, take this and this one, and again, I use the same weak spot. I take this one, then you lose a piece on 23, and then black has 2 pieces more. That's completely winning. Okay. Unfortunately, as I said, this is staying. This is not a part of the game. This was behind the scenes. Actually, the game was drawn, but I just wanted to say, you know, something about this game because it was a kind of beautiful stuff.
Yeah, beautiful variations, absolutely beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. Also with the 1-for-4 combination in 2 different ways. That's yeah, that's funny. Okay, let's move on to the next game.
Yeah, I want to give you like another fragment. So this was a qualification tournament in Poland for the World Cup. So I think we played it in 2005, I think. So this is a game against a French player, Laurent Nico. And well, very tense position. I play with black. So again, for the younger players, if you have a piece on 27, you have to always to count how many times it can be attacked, how many times it can be defended. So it can be attacked 3 times here and defended 3 times. So you think black is not in danger, but there is an issue. Let me just give you like a quick example. So it's black move. So, but let me play something extremely random. So if you play something of this type and then white exchanges, then suddenly white has 4 attackers and black has 3 defenders, and it can be dangerous, right? So I'm just saying that it could be dangerous positions. Now the game developed 14-20, which is a kind of very nice move. It makes use that, It makes use of the fact that if you try to attack, there is a kind of a nice combination. So you give 2, and then I think you can take on 47. I think this is like should be kind of close to winning. So this is a nice combination, and in the game, yeah. So Laurent couldn't find a good option, so he played this. Then I just closed this down. He basically could see that attacking doesn't bring him anything, decided to exchange. Then I played this, and strategically, again, for younger players, strategically, this is a very bad position. You have no piece on 49, you can't exchange. Yeah, this type of pieces here, they're not doing anything. You still have just 3 attackers to 3 defenders, so you can't do anything with this piece. And indeed, he's a good player, but he lost this position within maybe 3 or 4 moves because strategically it's so bad. Mm-hmm. Right? But what, again, is an interesting part, what was left behind, because it's what I was calculating. The very principal move in this position is to keep tension, to play 42-37. Now, just to give you an idea, this move doesn't work for black. So, because let's say you take this, this. White has still a move to do. And so you end up with this. This is not optimal. But black just continues. So this is what I was calculating. Of course, I'm using the holes here on 45 and 42, right? It's constantly kind of in danger. And white has to close these holes gradually. So let's say they play 48, 32, I play 9, 14. Again, you cannot attack because there is still a hole on 45, right? So yeah, to close this hole, you basically play on 25, and we are slowly reaching the position. Now, white can only play with these two pieces, 46 and 37. The order of next moves is not very important because they all come to the same position. So let's start with this, right? So I defend, then you play this move, and now the key thing, and that's what I told you in the beginning. Now I attack. Now the white is kind of running out of good options. So essentially, white have to give this piece and to exchange back, right? Mm-hmm. How to do that? Like, of course, if you do it this way, then black just has a simple combination. Yeah. Gives two pieces, plays this one, and plays this one, right? And, which is winning. And then you're basically forced to do it this way. And then we came back to what I was talking in the beginning. Now you have to count, of course, if you calculate this, you have to count how many attackers and how many defenders. So white has 3 attackers over here. Black has 2 defenders, which are even a bit too late, to be honest. So in these positions, there are some indirect ways to defend. But the best option is a very surprising move, 1923. So now, basically what happens if you're not attacking the piece, you just play a random move. I play on 28, and this is just strategically completely lost because all this block over here, this whole block is not moving anywhere. You can't simplify the position. This is completely done. Right? So you have to attack. And this was your plan all along, right? And now something, well, very unusual happens. So I have to admit, of course, for people like if Edwin is still on our online, this is not a new idea, but this in a real game, I mean that's quite an impressive thing. So I give 4 pieces, right? Take 1 back, and then take this combination, waiting, 13, 19, 12, 18. And now I get my bag of pieces. And this is kind of, this is, so I was asked by the audience how far you can calculate.
Yeah,
so
this to ask the same.
Yeah, so I don't know how many, so maybe 15 moves, 14 moves, something like this. So, right. Yeah,
because you need this defense, right? Because if you don't have the defense, you just lose the piece. Or maybe you can still play 13-18 to defend the piece, but this was the most efficient.
Yes, this was the most efficient to finish the game.
Yeah. So what do you think at that moment? What did you see the combination?
Yeah, I thought it's a good this type of position which we got over here. Sorry, I mean, coming back to the questions, this is a very concrete position with very concrete ideas. So a good player must be able to go pretty far in such a position with clear ideas that this how many defenders, how many attackers, that you have holes in the position, how to use them. It's quite nice, but a bit disappointing was that the game ended very differently and much faster and in a more positional way. in a way. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So meanwhile, I see Matteo Boxem, one of the young Dutch talents, joined the chat and said great combinations. Well, Matteo, I think we all agree on that. Also, Edwin poses a remark about let me check. In the analysis of the book Jill 50, you had a nice association with the game Salome de Haas, with Jill on the losing side, and he said he loved your analysis, and they were always clear to him, which says a lot in his opinion. I think that's a bit.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
So I think that was related to the previous game.
Yes. I actually, to be honest, I remember that I analyzed Gilles' game, but I don't remember which one. I mean, I'm very honest with you. So.
All right, then let's move on to the next game.
So, let's move on to a game which I played against Stick de Vogt. I would like to show the whole game because it was so beautiful, in my view. Actually, we missed so many combinations in this game, but it was still great. And it was a Grandmaster tournament in 2005. So yeah, let's start. Let's go directly in. So here I have to say, if you see the opening, so Dig is doing very creative stuff. Is here for the fight, obviously. Quite an interesting variation. No comments until now. Also very interesting move, 39, 34. And we get this position, and it's by its own, it's very interesting position. I have to give credit to Dig that, I mean, he basically created this position. I was just following. So, and it's very interesting to see the plans. So, when I was young, I was always preferred in this type of position to be on the white side of this. But then gradually, when I became older, it's not always that simple for white. So white tried to come from both sides, right? And let's see how it works out. So no comments so far, just executing the plan. Now the obvious thing is, white is a little bit stuck here because you cannot play this type of moves, obviously, because black just, wins a piece. And in such positions, so white doesn't have these columns, so all is a little bit, all the pieces are a little bit flowing around. So it's a bit tricky. So, okay, but let's see what happens here. Right. Now I start.
At first glance, it looks like a really nice Volkova structure for.
Yes. So as I said, when I was younger, this type of Volkova structure is really nice. But later you understand that it depends on the position. It's how many free moves you have, what are the ideas in the position, and so forth. And you will see in this game very clearly that things are not very simple sometimes. All right. So it looks like, I attack, it looks like now white can develop pieces, right? Because like 36 and so forth, playing natural moves. So 11, again, it's never good to occupy this field. So white has to wait. And now I attack. And again, you can think, it's a very natural move to play, very natural development move, but it's losing, unfortunately. So quite a non-standard idea. And of course, when I played it, I saw this idea like well in advance. I can't tell you how many moves before, but maybe 5 or 6, something like this. So now, very surprising move. So what's going on here? Well, if you take 22, I'll give you 2 pieces here, 2 pieces here. And then I take on 46, which is nice. Okay, it's not the end of the story. For instance, you can wait and exchange. So we have equal amount of pieces. So maybe it's not that bad, but after 1621, you cannot stop black from advancing. So,
right, true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, so he basically, in this position, he was forced to take the other in the other direction. So now I have one piece more, and now he tries to, to get the piece back. So he's exchanging. Now I played 1621, and now he wants to have the piece back. And here I have to admit the game would be beautiful, but actually I could win immediately here, and I didn't see it. So of course there are many combinations which are starting with 13, 19, but none of them really works, except the one which I missed. So actually here you have to play the good move, namely 14, 19. Now you have to give one more piece back, and now you have to take.
Yeah, you have to give the piece, because otherwise white still has a piece on 28, and you can catch the king, right?
Exactly. This was the main problem, and that's what I kind of didn't see. But if I would see it, I would win, but the game would be less beautiful. So I decided to play this. Now the thing is, well, if you try to capture forwards, I think now the combination works. But you just maybe it works. Maybe, yeah. Not even sure that I think it's not even winning. Sorry, but anyway, I played this, so he took backward. Now the idea is, well, we have equal amount of pieces, but his piece on 28 is a bit isolated. So I have a chance to actually surround it a little bit and trying to attack. And that's kind of my plan for the next move. So I play 14 and 19. He, of course, tries to defend it. And I play this move, and that's again a mistake. I missed yet another combination. We both missed it. Namely, now you can make this combination. It was not possible before. And the problem is, now this piece on 43 prevents you from doing something like this, right? If this piece wouldn't be here, it would be possible. And again, I miss it, right? But the combination I showed you is much more beautiful than this whole variation. So, okay, I play this move. So again, I try to surround this piece on 28 and attack it. So he prevents it. I go here. Now the plan is, okay, white cannot play this because of this combination, right? And my plan, oh, sorry. One moment. Sorry, it's my bad. Right, and black plan is now to play 3-9, 2-7, and then you create all those columns to attack the piece 28. And it's not very easy to prevent it. So first, white plays correctly for a couple of moves. 2-7, I execute my plan. And of course, what's coming now, I've seen it in advance. So yeah, so we are now talking about my development where I've seen these things in advance. I missed two other combinations before, but this one I've seen. Now, actually, yeah, what is the most natural move here? The most natural is what he played in the game. But there was still chances to draw it if you sacrifice a piece this way. So you sacrifice, you exchange, and then you play this. And yeah. So this was an idea, but let's come back to the game. So now you have so many holes. The only way to prevent it, at least that's what you think, is 37, 32. Now, obviously, yeah, I play this move. And obviously the idea is that well, if I play 18-23, just capturing, well, maybe black is somewhat better, but it's still a game. And he was kind of happy, well, maybe not so happy, but to go for it, right? But the idea is very different. Now I gave this piece. And now I take into the other direction. Now the good say you take 3, I take 3. And this piece is used to knock out 47 to be able to promote.
Yeah, white wants to take the other way, but there's no.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
This was just a beautiful, beautiful game, which I liked a lot. I mean, we've missed a lot of combinations altogether, but it was still quite a nice game.
Yeah, certainly. Especially the move 14-19 I liked. I tend to keep the pieces on, the Keller cross, I think it's called. I like to keep it, but especially you put it to 19 so you can attack 23 or 28. That's an interesting idea. All right, I see no more questions related to this game. There are many questions about your career after Draughts, but we will postpone them for the end.
Sure.
Let's move on to.
So again, now kind of at the end of our live stream. So now I would like to discuss some games where you can actually see if you reach a certain level, you can play a complete game from the beginning to the end. And well, I have a couple of such games. So let us start with a game against Crying Brain, which we played in Nijmegen Open. And it's quite a nice game. So I played with white, just kind of relatively usual development, nothing specific here. And here Johan plays this move 5-10, which is again quite creative, not the move you make every day, but it has certain ideas. So we will kind of discuss them later. So I occupy 25, he exchanges. And so basically the main idea is, so black wants to play sooner or later 20-24 and kind of try to control with this piece 24 my flank on this side, right? This again, when I was younger, it was like a common idea, and you think in all this position, black is kind of controlling the game, but there are two sides to the story. We will see. So, okay, developing. Right, now 32-28. So what happens here, because there is no piece on 5 and this piece is stuck here. So one of the white's ideas, not now, not for the moment, but at the right place, maybe to occupy the 23 square, right? And so if white keeps his piece on 28, then there's always kind of this danger. And maybe in combination with some tactical ideas, maybe it works later. So we will see. Normal development for now. So this is a usual, again, as a younger player, you usually occupy 24 and try to, to exchange pieces on this flank, right? Gradually, deeper and deeper, right? And again, I love to play this position on the black side when I was younger. Okay, so black keep on exchanging, now occupying 24. Now we come to this position, and now that's the right moment to occupy the 28 over here. So now the problem is you cannot play 14-19 due to combination. Let's say something like this. Right? And I kind of keep my eye on this move over here, right? So 11-16, develop my 36 piece. And now after 17-21, now it's the right time to occupy this field. It looks like from the surface, it looks like black has 6 attackers against 4 defenders over here. But things are not that simple. So you can actually not win this piece or even get rid of this in a nice way, and we'll see it in the game. So if you attack on this side, that's what happened in the game. I use this move to, to diminish the number of attackers a little bit. So now the piece 12 is gone. Now I attack. And now my position is quite harmonic. We'll go one piece. So you can really not win the piece here, because I also can create, to support, I can create also like a column here. Then I would have an exchange if you attack. And you cannot really play, obviously this is never possible to play like this. So black is in fact in trouble and needs to find a good option to escape. And here, or a couple of moves earlier, Johan realized that he can no longer tolerate the piece on 23. It needs to be exchanged. So, right. So he does this, and now he exchanges. And of course, those great grandmasters saying never do these things for, just for fun. They always have some tricks. So here, after a natural move like this, try to, to control this flank. I mean, this is losing because of a combination. So he is not doing this type of moves for nothing. He has tactical ideas in mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah. Yes, so let me just go back. Okay, let's go back to the game. Now, for this reason, I play 38-32 first, 3-9. I mean, it's definitely black who is defending, because now I managed to solve all my issues, but Johan's position is still left with these pieces over here which are not developed. And I'm threatening, if I occupy 28 and 27, this classic position will be very bad for black. So he needs to prevent it. And that's what I try to do if you play a random move like this, for instance. So this type of classical position are just awful for black. So he needs to prevent this, and he correctly plays this. Now he attacks. And here, now we come to the phase of endgame techniques. So, of course, if I just exchange, I don't know, maybe something like this, then I think he can just exchange pieces over here, and it's more or less draw. So I go for the endgame. It doesn't look very dangerous for black, but it will become in a moment. So we just get king, both of us, right? So, but now if you look at the position, so we have equal amount of pieces, but I have a piece on 22, I want to promote it, and all the black pieces, they're not going anywhere. So black has to find a good defense. And Johan plays correctly here, so he plays this move. Now he's basically what he wants to do. So if I play random move, let's say like this, so there is a nice way to escape. So just give 2 pieces, it doesn't matter where I take. So you give 1 more, and then you take 4, and then it's a draw, right? So, sorry, I need to prevent this. One move to prevent this is 40-34. He plays 9-13, it's all good. and I play this. And this is a key position. You know, it's a long game. It's if you, as a young player, if you look at this analysis, you think, okay, yeah, let's think how black can escape here. You have fresh mind and all this stuff. You'll probably find it. But imagine, so I kept on pressure the whole game. There were time issues, everything. You spend a lot of energy. We played already 5 hours, and it's difficult to defend in such situations. If you put pressure during the whole game, even a very good player can crack exam, and we'll see it. And now he makes a mistake. So actually, just calmly playing like this would be fine. And what he did is a bit more creative, but unfortunately losing. So he sacrificed the piece and attacked. And now what I do, so I play this move. So you have to capture 2 pieces with the king. Let's say on 44, I capture here. Now you have to prevent my piece from promotion, right? So obvious way to prevent this is to play this. I cannot play this move because it just force me here and just exchange. So this doesn't give anything. There's a much better way. Attack, play this, and now this key move. I mean, this is a dream position. For endgames, this is a dream position. There are 2 variations which are losing in a very nice way. So, of course, I want to play with my king to 24, right? So if you play with your king trying to escape, just give 1 and play this. And this is just a beauty. You dream of those type of things, right? Now, if you play instead, and that's what he planned to play, move like this, and then if I play to 20, I think this is still draw. What he probably missed in his calculation. I first give this piece, and then I play this, and then I'm winning, right? So he actually gave 2 pieces, but this is a completely lost position.
Losing, yeah.
But if you come to this position, this is just, I mean, you know, for drafts player, that's why you play the game. I mean, yes.
Beautiful, yeah. We've seen so many nice variations where you transition from the, let's say, late mid-game to the end game in a very interesting way. Let's say this is an example, but also some of the other games you've shown so far. I see no questions in the chat related to this game, but I think everybody is really looking forward to the game we are going to show next. Maybe your trademark game, you can say. Of course, everybody knows about which game we are talking. That is the game against Alexei Dongchev from the World Championship.
Yes. So again, we are talking about a phase of my career where, you know, I educated myself so much that, well, I could play complete games from start to the end, where each move is justified. There's justification for each move. And in this particular game, I mean, not only I will tell you some variations, but I will tell you a bit about the background. Why do I play this type of move against this particular opponent, right? So let's start. And I have to say, this was a game. So this was third last round of the World Cup, and there were a couple of players leading with +4, and arguably I had the easier finish. So I played this game against Alexei Dongchev, who is by no means easy to win against. Mm-hmm. But then the next game was against a Mongolian player who was, probably the weakest in the camp. So I had a chance to get +6 and with a very good chance to win. And I got +6, but unfortunately that was not enough. So, and this is, we got a prize. So me and Alexei, both of us got a prize for the most beautiful game of the tournament. So let's dig into it. So it started relatively simple. And so we came to this position. So I still keep my options over here. I can try to play Keller variations if I try to do this. Or I can play something what I played in the game, and I will give you some comments on that. So I played 37-32, this exchange. Again, there are many variations here which you could play. You can try to play the usual game. But it's very important sometimes to understand who is your opponent and how you develop. So if I would play, for instance, if I would play this, Alexei Dongchev is a player who plays simple type of position in an excellent way. It's very hard to compete against him. I mean, I'm not saying he would play this exchange, but if he would, competing here for a win against Alexei Dongchev is essentially impossible. Now let's come back. So what I played is actually an old variation, which appears in the Russian book of Agafonov, for instance. So exchange. Now black does this, white does this. So again, what comes next, I actually analyze this variation, but not before the World Championship. I analyzed it maybe 7 years before the World Championship. And it was just a crazy variation, which should never happen in the game. But when we came closer to this position, so my way of thinking in, we came to this position. Now, I know Alexei Dongchev, he was also born in Soviet Union. He read all these books by Agafonov. He knows this type of stuff. So the move he plays doesn't come to the surprise. So this is a so he's given me a piece, and this is a move discussed in the old book by Agafonov. And what Agafonov says is white needs to take this way. And again, this is a very simple type of position. Winning something like this against Dongchev is very difficult. Now, Agafonov book, sorry for that, Agafonov book also says that if you take how I took in the game, this is a very bad idea because of this. Now you have different type of moves. So black can play 24-30 or 23-38. And Agafonov says there is nothing better than maybe to give the piece back and to play this, which is of course very bad. For white. What Agafonov doesn't say is you can also give this piece back and play this. And actually, there was a real game, I think, by Ukrainian drafts players who played this, but the white player was not, doing the good move, so to speak. So I kind of analyzed this many years before the World Championship, and we came to this position. And you can imagine how Alexei felt in this position. He didn't know this variation at all. And here, basically, he needed time kind of to develop the understanding. So, let's start with obvious things. So if you attack, I just wait and take 2, right? So this you can't do. Second most obvious, so if you play this move, wanting maybe to play 12-17 and win a piece, well, this is also losing because of this combination, right?
Yeah, very surprising.
Yes.
So difficult, but a very surprising maneuver.
Right. And now, I mean, it took him a lot of time to calculate things here, right? So, and he plays a most natural move, which is 10-14. And actually, this move is not, I mean, you can play it, is not the best in this variation, but the best one is extremely hard to find over the board. Actually, the best move is 9-14. White attacks. Then white needs to play this. And then the story is that now it becomes really dangerous for white. So because black can play on 25, creating ideas, and white needs to take this exchange combination. But it's not even, well, it's better for black here. But okay, we have equal pieces at least. But of course, to come up with line 14 is essentially impossible in a real life game. So what is the difference? Now I play 47, 42. And the thing is that I always have an exchange combination. So for instance, if you play this, I always have this exchange combination, which which is probably better for white because these pieces are not doing anything. Also, these pieces are not doing anything. Probably somewhat better. So he has to play, well, somehow he needs to close this opportunity for white. One way of doing this is 14-19. Now the next shocker is 33-28. Now, I mean,
so did you prepare all of this up front, or did you come over?
No. This is still, like when I analyze this type of position and like many years before this tournament, I remembered that I should play like this, and I remembered the key ideas here. And basically, I mean, it looks crazy, but basically the key idea is now in this position, if you try to win a piece, let's say by doing something like this, then you can never play this move because I just wait and give another one and take 3. While if you try to kind of prevent this from happening by playing this, I can always exchange like this. This is something what also happened in the game with a better position. Right. Mm-hmm. Now he realizes basically, actually you can still play this position. You can still keep this type of structure. But he realizes, he can't do it for long. So he really plays this move. Now I have to exchange. And now let's look at this position once again. Now, what is the outcome? The outcome is Alexei Dongchev spent 1 hour until we came to this, right? So first goal was already accomplished. I forced him to spend a lot of time for the first 16 moves, right? Mm-hmm. White position is clearly better. And so he plays normal move. And here, again, it's kind of psychology. I'm not saying what I play is the best variation, but you have to see who is your opponent. On the basic level, the best possibility is to exchange. And black plays some move, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, to exchange again. Your development is so much stronger than black's development here. But the point is, even if black changes back, I'm not saying it's the best you can do. Again, I'm dominating here for sure. But Alexei Dongchev is extremely good in this type of position. Like, he is down, but he has no, he has no weaknesses here, no clear weakness. I mean, some weaknesses, and he escaped this type of position so many times against top player. It's very easy position. Now, recall that maybe will come to time troubles. So I have to make him think. I have to make him also believe that he has some counter chances here. For this reason, I don't exchange, and I start to play this position. I'm not saying it's better than the exchanging variation, but now he even may think that he has counter chances. He's controlling this part, and it's not clear, it's not clear who is really better here, right? But my idea is he should spend more time calculating this type of variations, not playing simple moves. So we just develop further until we come to the next kind of critical position, which is this one. So here, well, now it becomes really concrete. I mean, now you really have to calculate things. The basic idea is maybe, well, in the game he played 14-20, but if you play this move, then white can exchange, and well, it becomes kind of relatively tricky here. Well, let's start with a simple thing. So if you play, for instance, this move, and I do something which is kind of similar to the game, but in a much better way. Okay, so I exchange. Now the only way to escape this for black is to exchange. But this is losing due to this small combination. Okay. And the other, maybe even more beautiful thing is, well, if you attack, there is also a nice combination. So you really have to play this move first. Give 2, give other 2, and then, yeah. And you have to exchange, because if you wouldn't play this move, then black would exchange your king, right? So you have to play 37-31 in the very beginning. So now it becomes very concrete. So to prevent all these problems, he played this move. And now the issue is, this is a second critical position. Sorry. So now, again, I have this major idea of this exchange. Right? This is the main idea. But in this particular situation, black exchanges, and well, I cannot win this because this I have very weak, very weak flank over here. So I can't do anything. But I like the idea. So how to make this possible? Well, to make this possible, you have to play this crazy move, 36-31. Another surprise. The most times you surprise the opponent, the better. The higher chances to win. Now he has to play this, and now I do this exchange. So what is the difference? Of course, now you cannot play this move, because I just played 28-22, right? So, okay, so, okay, so he has to play this. Now the threat is to exchange, obviously, and I have to prevent it. And now he makes a mistake, so this is a decisive mistake. What you had to do is to attack and to play this. And it's very interesting. From the white side, I'm sitting on the white side of the board. This idea is very natural. If you go around for the black side, you just look at this position from the black side. This looks scary because you're not, you're allowing for this, and your pieces are nowhere close to promotion. But there is actually nothing here for white can do to win. So he makes a decisive mistake. He waits, but then the time is gone. So, it's a more or less forced variation. Do this, I play this. And the idea is, now if you make a natural move of this type, I play 33-29, you have to give a piece. So there is nothing else to do. You have to give a piece. Now, well, there are two major variations. If you play this move, I just exchange. You play to 23, I give you a piece, play like this, and this is done. You have no moves. And if you play this move, I play 35-30. And if you try to do this, there's also a small combination which basically wins the game. Okay. So for this reason, he plays 17-22. Or I play this. And again, you are running out of moves, so you cannot exchange because I play 29-23. If you do a random move, I just close the opportunity for you to do anything. So you're running out of moves. So what he does, he tries to escape. So he tries to give this 2. And well, I think this is losing. What I played is maybe not the best way, but good enough. I played this move. Now I'm threatening to get your king. And if you go to the other side with the king, what happened in the game, I give you back. Play this move, and well, it's very beautiful. So the king, controls the 3 pieces. These 2 pieces control these 2 pieces, and that's it. And this was a key game, of course, in the tournament. I hoped this would give me a world championship title, but it was not supposed to be the case. But
Yeah,
I still love the game very much.
You didn't make it because the rules were back in the days, and I think they still are, that the number of victories decide who becomes first, right?
So we ended up with the same amount of points with Alexander Schwartzman. So I had 6 winning games. He actually lost 1 and won 7 of them. And he made a great comeback because he lost a game against Chizhov. And for a particular time of the first tournament, he was -1. And then started winning games after games. And the kind of the games, those important games were against Case Tyson. It was 1 round before the end, which gave him the World Cup. And I think he analyzed this game during your podcast. So. And also against Jeroen van den Akker a game before. So against the 2 Dutch players. Yeah, but things are as they are. It was still a nice experience, nice competition.
So then this was one of your last games, let's say, at the really high professional level. What happened afterwards? I can imagine after you become second, you will be really eager as a top player to try to win it again.
That's right. Yeah, my situation was a bit different though, and I always say the biggest threat to young players of this game is they basically develop and succeed, but then they go and study, like Royal Bomster is studying now, and once they're finished with a PhD, there is not much room left for playing. And what I mean by playing is competitive playing. I mean trying to become world champion. So, Royal Bomster became world champion before he even completed his study. So that's the best way you can do. But otherwise, the danger is always that when people come into profession, they can play in a team competition, they can play in some tournaments, but competing for the world championship is very complicated. So what happens in general is, so when this World Cup took place, so it was in 2007, I completed my PhD already a year before. I started what we call postdoc. I was a postdoctoral fellow. And I was aiming actually to go from Germany to Denmark and later to Switzerland. To proceed with my scientific career. And it was also geographically, if you move to Denmark, you can't really, come to Dutch tournaments, for instance, right? So I would be able to play, sure, but competitively to become a world champion, I wouldn't have just time for it. And I'm extremely, at least I was extremely competitive person. So last years of my career was dedicated to become world champion. Right? It's very hard to say, but at some point this was a bigger goal than the love for the game in some sense. And well, if it would happen, I think I had this small conversation with Alexander Georgiev, because he was world champion at the time, before the tournament was finished. So I told him, he was playing the tournament obviously too. So if I would become world champion, I would really love to play a match against you. So for this, I would, still stay in the draughts scene. But otherwise, I mean, I could already see it became increasingly more complicated for me because I was not, compared to all these professional. I call them professional players like Alexander Schwarzman, Chizhov, Valnerez, Balakin, Georgiev. I never thought that I would do it for my whole life. What I mean by that I would only concentrate on drafts. For me, it was a little bit too little. If I'm honest to my audience. So I loved it when I played it, but it was clear that I would go in the direction of mathematics, that I will become a mathematician, or at least I will study mathematics and maybe find a job in the industry. And it was clear that, if you stay in academia, you basically have a period of time where you don't have a fixed position. You basically, if you do your postdoc term, you have to go through different universities and different places, and you cannot combine it with top level competition, really. And it was also clear to me that my job is more important because, even for young people, it's probably not a big surprise here that the life of a drafts player is at times not easy, right? So going from hotel to hotel, and also, financial situation is not like super great and independent. If I were in Germany, it would be definitely not super great. And always looking for these opportunities, it's kind of hard, And also you have to imagine that drafts and mathematics occupies the same part of your brain. And it's very hard a better combination would be mathematics and football. You do two different things, and one helps you to escape the other. I can tell you like a small story before this World Cup, the last World Cup. 2 days before the tournament started, I was helping I had a PhD student from Oxford, and I was helping her to prove complicated theorems. My head was exploding already. And, I had 1 day break, and then I went to the World Cup. And I can tell you that for the first 2 or 3 games, I had terrible headaches. And actually, I'm not sure if he remembers, but actually, Murat Amrilayev, who was also there, he gave me some pills against the headache. And from there, and then I started actually winning. And then from that point onwards, things were fine. I mean, once you start winning and you're competing, then, you can overcome a lot of things. So it was to be honest, it was a very tough tournament. And I remember I gave an interview also to a Dutch journalist, and I said, he asked me, what do you feel now? And it was like, maybe we played already the last game. It was just before the last game, and it says, I'm just tired. I'm just completely tired. And this is what I was feeling. And the second feeling I had is that, when I was young, those players like Chizhov or Schwarzman, Valnerez, Balakin, this were legends for me, or Wiersma, Sabrans for sure. These were legendary players. And I realized during this World Cup, okay, I didn't win the World Championship, but I realized, okay, I arrived there. And you have this feeling, it's a nice feeling on the one way, but on the other way, it's also a feeling, okay, what is more there, right? Okay, you can win a championship for sure, or you can become second, whatever. But on the intellectual basis, what is more? And it's this kind of a little bit disappointing feeling, in a sense. It's a nice feeling, but also a little bit disappointing. So, well, to make things short, I concentrated on my career. I became professor in mathematics at the age of 13. also not too bad. Since then, I was working as professor in different universities in Heidelberg, in Aarhus, which is in Denmark, and now I'm in Luxembourg University.
Do you still follow Draughts or play Draughts every now and then under some nickname online or something? Or?
I follow Draughts, Dutch Team Championship or World Championship. I don't play a lot. I think in preparation for this, I played a couple of games on Draughts, but no, I actually don't play. I have to admit, I'm very sorry for the audience to admit, I watch much more chess than Draughts nowadays, because this game is more mystery to me than Draughts, so it's more interesting in a sense.
And did you ever think about making a comeback? Maybe not at a really competitive professional level, but just playing for fun in some competitions?
To be honest, I'm not sure about that. I'm one of this person who, at least when I was a professional player, I was a competitive person. And to see your level decrease, I have a certain image of myself when I was professional. And if I go tomorrow to say a team competition or something, and I play a terrible game, in my eyes, it's not very nice to see those things. So it's which, by the way, will also happen in mathematics to me one way or another, because your abilities just at some point at a certain age they're not improving. So I'm kind of hesitant a little bit. I would maybe do it for nostalgic reasons, to meet people. Tournaments, if you win or lose, the nice thing about our game, you meet a lot of nice people and interesting people. And this was, for me, always very important. No matter what their level and Draughts are, there are some interesting figures in our game. So, I like to be around them. See my teammates over there, guys from Vita Van Moort, I remember you all, and watch your games, and so
that's basically it. All right, I think there's no nicer way to make an end to this masterclass. I see no more questions, so I think we are there. Mark, thank you very much for giving us the insight into your brilliant mind and to show us some games of 15 years and longer ago. It was really nice to see you enjoying it as well during the masterclass. So thank you very much. To our viewers, if you liked this masterclass, please subscribe to the channel, give a thumbs up so you don't miss out on any future videos. I hope you all enjoyed it, and let's see you at the next masterclass.